everybody, it's Katie with Grandma's House on the Mountain and the Real Messy Gardener YouTube channel. Time for episode 7. Today, I'm in my office, obviously not on the porch, and a little disclaimer, I share my office with my husband and a couple of animals, so you may occasionally, even though they promise to try their best, there still might be an occasional outburst of laughter or something. My husband has headphones on, but he's watching videos, so just kind of giving that forewarning. And you know me, I hate to edit. I guess one of these days I'm going to have to sit down and I'm just lazy. It's just like, no. But I'll probably eventually do it. Maybe I'll have AI do it. I think there's an AI editor out there. Anyway, just these musings. But today, I'd like to kind of, like I said, maybe slow it down a little bit. Not so much of a chit-chat as in some wisdom, reflection on the fall of our Western culture. Our Western civilization has become inevitably evil because it's drifted away from the truth. It has lost the truth. It has drifted away from God, which, of course, makes it easier for Satan to get a foothold, as well as our mankind's corrupted imagination, corrupted brain that we have. Remember, we are, still fallen in that sinful state. Between Satan and mankind's evil brain, we have created a culture that is manifestly evil, right? We've seen a lot of evil manifesting itself lately. If you pay attention to any kind of current events, there's all kinds of evil. Against churches, shootings, people that have a different political belief than you. That's not even cutting the surface. But not only does it allow evil and enabling evil to have a free reign, it also causes a false understanding of God, which in turn causes a false understanding of man and his relationship with God. What is an appropriate relationship with God? What kind of relationship should I expect from God to me? So we have that false understanding because of this slowly falling away or drifting away from the truth. Mankind's heart is so full of corruption and is to the point where it's so deceived itself that they believe, mankind believes they can do whatever they want. They can pursue whatever action. They're free to do whatever desire, everything that feels good to them, whatever their truth is. They can do it. And so by that, they're embracing the very foundations of evil. We can see men and women falling indifferent to God and to their personal eternal condition. Where are they going to spend eternity? They are indifferent to that. Our culture has caused people to be indifferent about their eternal destination. In contrast, think about how much people think about materialism, okay? How focused they are on the things of this world. They're material things. Materialism reigns the world today. Whether it becomes communism, socialism, liberalism, neoliberalism, conservatism, neoconservative, whatever ism you want to throw in there, it's still materialism in all its forms. This materialism convinces a man or mankind or human to become overly concerned with their wealth, their possessions, their standing in society, their health, Not that we shouldn't focus on our health. We should. But not obsess. It's not the focus. Sometimes we even get to the point where we worry more about the environment than we worry about our own eternal destiny, our own eternal destination, the condition of our heart. Once we fail or stop having our eternal destination, number one concern in our lives, when it's not the primary concern of our life, God still allows us to have that free will to accept or reject Him. And we're rejecting Him, but God still gives us the freedom to do that. Does that mean He stops loving us? No. He pours His love, He pours His mercy into us. And He gently reminds us in many ways. Sometimes a small, still voice, sometimes, in a dream, anyway, God speaks to mankind in any which way He chooses, because He's God. But He uses that nudging, that gently reminding to call us back as if we were the prodigal son. For those of you who don't remember the story of the prodigal son, there was a story of a man who was very wealthy, had two sons that were going to inherit from him. The younger son said, "Father, I don't want to wait. Can you give me my money now? I want to go out and see the world while I'm still alive. Well, I still can. I want to go out, surf the big waves in Hawaii. You get the idea. Have young men changed in 2,000 years or more? No. They still want to go out and have adventure at a young age. So we can picture a young man going to their dad, I want the money. I don't want to wait till you die, Dad. No offense, but I'd like to go out and have fun now. Spend my money now. The father was gracious and understood, all right. I worry about you, but here you go. Go do what you want. You want to do that, go for it. Go. So the son went, took his money, and went out and lived sinfully, spending his money on all kinds of stuff. Ended up losing his money. Had to get a job working for another man. And that job was feeding the pigs the slop. Feeding the pigs, taking care of the pigs. One day he was feeding his pigs, or the farmer's pigs, and he thought to himself, these pigs eat better than I do. Their slop is better than what I eat now. Maybe I should go home, ask for forgiveness, and maybe my father will be gracious enough to at least let me to work in the pigs to get some food. So, of course, the son goes home. He's, downtrodden as he's journeying home. Oh, geez, I hope my father forgives me and allows me to do that because, at least I'll be home. I may be with the pigs, but I'll be home. Thinking his father would not forgive him. So when the father finds out that the son is coming home, he runs out joyfully, meets him in the road on the way home, greets him joyfully with new clothes, rings, he's shouting joyfully on the way back, "Hey guys, hey neighbor, my son's home. It's kind of like me, not that I'm saying my daughter was the prodigal daughter, but I was so happy when she came home from the army, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. So you could imagine this father who thought his son was gone forever and hadn't communicated with for however long he was gone, to see his son joyfully coming back asking for forgiveness, he was very joyful. So they got, he's shouting, he's happy, gave him new clothes, and throws a party. Or at least, a big banquet, whatever a party was at that time. Okay, threw a big banquet. So the father was so joyful. So much with us. Doesn't matter. We come back to Him and ask for forgiveness and repent. The Father will accept us and give us new clothes, give us golden rings, throw a party for us. It's just, yeah, a big banquet in heaven. So God gives us that free will, but yet does not give up on us. Still gently calls us. Some spirits or some souls, some people, whatever, humankind, some of them, many of them, are entering into a time in their lives where their ego has assumed control over everything. It has assumed such a level of control that it refuses the soul any acceptance of God's call, won't even allow it to go through, transmit, so to speak. And that soul, that spirit, that person, we talk about a hole in our heart, a God-sized hole in our heart. Well, they enter a stage of that, a suffering, that hole in their heart that's so intense, and they end up being open to demonic disgrace. The world today is so focused and aims to defile and corrupt the human soul that human souls are becoming spiritually paralyzed. You can see that today. We've gone from being smiling to humility, holding the door open for people, helping elderly get something off a high shelf at the grocery store, nodding our heads when we pass, good morning, good afternoon, how are you? Oh, you have a beautiful baby. Oh, what a beautiful scarf. Kindness. Acknowledging that there's another person there that is worthy to acknowledge, worthy to speak, even if it's a trivial word. You're acknowledging them as a person. Gone are those days. Now we're so full of arrogance and laughter at others, making fun of. It's so corrupted that we've lost our sense of decency, our sense of honor, and even our good manners. These are replaced by deceit, lies, anger, violence, and lust. And the absence of God and the truth is being seen in our mannerisms. People's mannerisms, they're uncivilized. Think about it, how a person getting mad and pulling a cashier at McDonald's across the counter and punch him in the face because they gave him the wrong hamburger? No. And my dog, of course, thinks he wants in and he's going to bark, so I'm ignoring him right now. But we have turned, instead of acknowledging people, as another person worthy to say hello to, we are now pulling them across the counter and punching them in the face because of a simple mistake, which might not even be theirs. Think about the clothing nowadays. Things in Hollywood or influencers, whatever you want to call it, the latest trend is, see-through clothing without the proper undergarments. Not that I'm saying the naked body is evil. Not that at all. Your naked body is for you, your spouse, God, and the doctor. That's the only people that we should be seeing your naked body. Not for flashing the paparazzi at an honors or Academy Award or whatever award show that you weren't even invited to. Have some dignity. That's not clothing. Clothing was made to protect the body from the elements, from sunburn, from bug bites, whatever, as well as modesty. This body was made for me, the temple of the Holy Spirit, my spouse, if they're, if you're, if that is your path in life, which most of it should be, and your doctor to see for health care. It's the only four people that should be seeing your body. I'll get off that soapbox. But at the same time, we can't be judgmental about these people or to these people because honestly, they're just under the influence of the devil, of this evil culture that we're part of. Another reason why it's so important to share God, to share the gospel with others, share, to evangelize, so we can save these people from their slavery to this evil culture. Because if you think about it, you are a slave, or they are slaves to this culture. They're told what to do to remain relevant, or whatever. Or just because they do it, I gotta do it. So we have to be careful about judging. We can teach, we can lead, we can even admonish, but we don't judge. It seems like, the old days of dignity and humility were replaced with this whole illusion of vanity and an absolute distraction of relativism. Even in our schools and other institutions, we have no certainty that they're telling us the truth anymore. We have no certainty of truth because they have gone to this relativism and pluralism, atheism, okay? So many people are having a hard time in this culture finding meaning in their lives other than just hedonism and sensuality, going with what feels good, going with their feelings. It's all about them. It's their truth. Doesn't matter, if everybody had their own truth, we'd have, 7 billion truths out there? No, there's got to be an absolute truth. Has to be an absolute truth. People are being told nowadays that all things, everything, may be used for their own pleasure and passions. While traditional values, restrictions, regulations are seen as chains that they got to break instead of being boundaries to keep them safe. Matter of fact, at this moment, billions of dollars are being spent in the media to come up with entertainments and amusements that'll all contain this subtle teaching about good and evil, which create the false ideas about what is heroic, what is strong, what is masculine, and what is feminine. It's made it to the point that a man or a woman, human, is so free in their twisted, corrupted minds that they are free to call themselves whatever they want, regardless of biology and truth. I think I'll be a cat today. Well, that's all well and good if you're 3 or 4 years old, but not so much on a 21-year-old, 31-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, etc. Is it? It's okay for 4-year-olds, not so much for grown men or women. We have lost our understanding by which man is created. We have a new sickness that appears when people are allowed to only be identified by what they feel like or what they desire to be identified as. Our real target is our children. Evil is very intent in the corruption of our children, and it's essential that we grasp this, that we recognize how much danger our children is in. Now, I want to repeat that. It is essential that we recognize the danger that our children are in. The rapid influence of these wrong beliefs, these wrong teachings, the liberalism, especially in the schools, are causing Christian teachers to be uncomfortable because they're being forced by culture and their management that they have to pass on these teachings. That they can't. They have to go by this sick worldview. They're being forced to remain silent. That the Western educational system is failing. It gives children no meaning and is without God. Parents who try to raise their family with Christian values will find that their children's worldview, their Christian worldview that they taught their children, in the best case scenario, will be challenged up to, in many cases, mocked or portrayed as evil. So think about it. These children are being told by their parents, this, the story of God, they pray at night, da-da-da-da-da. They go to school and they're being told, oh no, you're evil. Those thoughts are evil. No wonder children are confused. No wonder children are acting out. Children raised with those kind of traditional values will find their whole school life, if not their whole life, troubled and being told that these ideas are bigoted, evil, and wrong, and that they must be rejected. That everybody must accept this mantra of inclusion tolerance, which, as I see it, is inclusion and tolerance in everything but Christian values. We don't tolerate those. Oh, we don't tolerate no God talk about here. And what the children, your children, are being told in school is being reinforced then by everything they watch on television or on the internet, whatever they stream, whatever game they're playing, whatever book they're reading, whatever, their friends talk about, what they hear on the news, over here on the news. Children shouldn't be watching news unless it's a current event homework. The parents should be the ones worrying about the world. Let children be children and enjoy it. But that's where we step in as parents, though, is we got to make sure we don't reinforce that, or we're not allowing those ideas to be reinforced when the children come home. This involves active parenting. At least that's what I like to call it. It's called active parenting. You don't just put your child, give him a snack and give him his tablet and say, dinner's at 5. Not that I'm saying your child being with a tablet after school with a snack is bad. No, you can't not allow your children to have the screen time, because that's the way our world works now. Everybody's got a screen of some type. Now you can limit the time, just don't delete it, because you're doing your children a disfavor, putting them at a disadvantage going into the job market. But yes, monitor everything that they see. Just like you monitor a baby when they first start eating solid food. You monitor what you feed them because you want to be aware if they have an allergic attack or allergic to something, you know what that something is and you don't have to go through the guessing process again. Well, as much attention as we pay to our children's food and health, taking them to the doctor when they're sick, making sure they're clothed correctly, warm or cool, whatever they need to be, we should also be paying that attention to their mental health but also their spiritual health, the needs of their soul, the needs of their spirit. And part of that is protecting it. It's our job to teach and protect our children. Okay? It's called active parenting. Now we have to remember that nowadays children are being told that their parents aren't to be trusted, that they're to trust the teachers or the medical doctors before their parents. Children are already growing up with tensions. It's just the normal tensions of growing up. And then you throw in the tensions of, oh, I don't know, crime in their city, or their parents getting a divorce, or, whatever. They're told they're being bullied at school. Children have to deal with all these tensions that children aren't meant to deal with. Things of the world, they should be in a children's world. And yet we're throwing tensions at them or causing them more unnatural tensions by having a high divorce rate. Or shoot, nowadays, why even get married? I have 3 kids, why bother getting married? I've already got the kids. I gotta share something here real quick. Just want to share that some of the reason we might have such a high divorce is that a lot of people treat a marriage like a test driving of a car. You don't jump in the car, test drive it, go home, and then take it back and go, yeah, I don't like this one, let me try another one. Okay, that's maybe normal for a car, but not a human being. And certainly not the relationship of marriage. You don't treat your marriage as a test drive. When you marry, that is for life. It's not something to be flippant about. Your life partners. So we got to get out of that mentality. Take a little bit longer in getting to know the person that you want to marry instead of rushing into marriage. If that's your worry. Make sure you know them before you get married. Other people know the minute they meet or shortly thereafter. I was like that with my husband. He winked at me and I knew that was it. I was in love with him, and then that was the end of the conversation 39 years later. Well, actually 40 if you count the year we dated. The year before we got married. So, you never know. But you should really get to know. I mean, Mark and I spent a lot of time together getting to know each other, so it wasn't like, we just looked at each other and got married. Okay, but, if you're uncertain in any way, shape, or form, take the time to just slow down and get to know each other. See each other in good times and in bad times. And everything in between. Okay, it's better to find out now than to find out later. Don't test drive your cars. When you finally commit to buying that car, you're with that car until it dies, right? That's the smartest thing to do. You buy a new car, you keep it till it dies. Same thing with marriage. It's not a test drive. You stay with them until they die. Yeah. No, marriage is for life, though. I wanted that. That's just my little soapbox moment. And, like I said, take it with a grain of salt, but we have been married 39 years. And there's a reason. Okay. Anyway, this whole attack on Western civilization or Western culture is not by accident. It's all planned. Our Western culture here, our Western, especially America, we were founded on Christian values, founded by Christians. So it stands to reason why Satan is doing so much to cause our culture to crash. But Western culture has also, or I should say the evil has also used media to guide and manipulate us. And this media is owned generally by people who have a certain spirit that are desperate to drive their own agenda on the world. We see governments rather just giving parents free child care instead of forcing the companies and ensuring the man of the house, the father, having a wage that he could support a family on. They'd rather have us taxpayers, the public, pay for this child care program. Not that I'm saying it's bad overall, but you'd rather have the taxpayer pay for free child care, separating the infant from its mother, instead of holding the companies and corporations that pay the fathers to pay a higher wage so the mothers can stay home and raise their children. It's a short period of time, people. 18, 20 years goes by fast. You have the other 40 years of your life to work then, if you really want to. So you see the mixed up priorities, the evil priority of the devil. Separate children from their parents. Kill them if you have to through abortion. Separate them, teach them to hate their parents in school, put them in child care, make it to the point where the mothers have to work just as much as the fathers, and the kids in child care from 9 to 5. Or 8 to 6 probably. Sometimes 7. I worked in a daycare, I know. Broke my heart to see a 6-week-old baby being brought in every day. And that's some of the evil we have. The attack on the family, separating children from their parents. Our children are a target today. But don't be disheartened, because active parenting. We have a way to save our families. We have a way to save, not necessarily save, but protect our families and protect our children is, again, active parenting. Be aware of what is going in your eyes, ears, mouth, and what you're being exposed to. Okay? What your children are being exposed to. Something you might not even thought of that you listen to or is not appropriate for your child, and your eyes haven't been open to that. Active parenting. Be involved in your child's life. Be involved of who they play with, who they listen to, who talks to them, who texts them. What kind of household are they brought up in? You don't want to be nosy, but I'll tell you what, you're protecting your kids. All in the name of protecting your kids. Don't ever think you're offending somebody. If they are offended, too bad. They're not. Your children is not theirs. You don't care. If they're offended by you asking what kind of family you have. If they're a good parent, they'll understand why you're asking that. Protect your children with active parenting. Renew your mind. Come back to God. Listen to His calling. Be the prodigal son and run back into His arms. I guarantee you won't regret it at all. So some of the ways that we can protect ourselves and protect our families, our children, is we have to either remove or highly restrict some of the things in the world that children can get into, if not being watched. In the old days, it's still around, poisons. You worry about your child getting into poison. Don't let them watch the poison on the internet. You don't let your child in front of a swimming pool without being, especially if it's a young toddler, without it being fenced off, right? Don't let them swim in the filth of bad programming on whatever streaming or Disney or whatever you watch. It's active parenting to protect your children. You need to let them see your prayer is a normal part of life. You know, pray with them. Let them see you pray. Pray together as a family. One of the things I used to do with my kids whenever I was taking them somewhere, we used to take a lot of trips, around. My husband was either working or out to sea. And we'd go to like state parks, museums, zoos, that kind of stuff. And if we ever passed an accident or an ambulance went by, I'd always say, okay, guys, let's pray and hope the person in the ambulance is getting the help they need, and just real quick. It wasn't like I spent 5 hours with this long litany. It was just letting them know to be concerned about the welfare of others, to pray and ask God for the protection of those people. And let them see that that's a normal part of life. That's another way we can protect ourselves. But I want you to be of good spirits because, A, you can protect your family from this, being watchful. And also remember that Christians for 2,000 years have always lived in pagan and atheistic cultures. So it's nothing new. The early church had some savage brutality, suffered some savage brutality at the hands of their persecutors. We even have, think about some of the Russians that were believers that were killed when the communists came in, or while the communists were there. And then we have the modern day ones, such as the ones that were killing Christians in Syria, and I think it was Nigeria. The last couple of years there has been some persecution and some, murdering and executions of Christians. So this is nothing new. This is not a new trick that Satan has all of a sudden come up with. Let's corrupt society. No. It's been around for 2,000 years and will be around until the end of time when God comes and does what he does. Okay? So I want you to be in good spirits. Don't be afraid. Just resist sliding into that evil thought. Question everything. Test everything. I think I tell you guys that at least 3 times a video. Test everything. Don't trust yourself or your own emotions. And also, organize your life. Use your time wisely. Make sure you have space in your time to fill that God-sized hole in your heart, that longing for God you have to feed your spiritual life. Okay? Make your eternal destination a priority in your life. And don't be saddened while we are seeing Satan's hand playing with people in an evil way. Remember, we're also going to witness Christ's victory. Christ has already won this, and we'll get to witness that victory. So don't be disheartened. Have faith. Keep your prayer life up. Love your children. Be ever watchful. And finish the race. Finish the good race. Eyes on the prize. All right, guys. Have a good day. Let me know if there's any questions, comments, or concerns, whatever. If there's something else you'd like me to cover or whatever, just drop it in the comments there or send me a DM, whatever. Certainly would appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I try at least weekly on Friday. Some weeks it's a sketch, whether I get one every week or not, but it's usually I try on Fridays. So, all right, guys, be blessed. Have a good day. Talk to you soon. This is Katie with Grandma's House on the Mountain Facebook page and the Real Missy Gardner YouTube channel. Have a good day.